This bed was all Donovan. It had, I believe it was 8. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It had at least 8 in it, 4 on each side. And so I picked, it was time to cull the tomatoes. Coming out here as a breeder, someone even made a comment, I'm not here to grow a lot of tomatoes. That's not why I'm here, to produce as much as I can produce. What I'm trying to do is create something new, something that a lot of people will want, that possesses qualities, especially in the parthenocarpy, something that's desirable. So this bed here, except for these two, I removed them all because I didn't like the shape of the tomatoes, the structure. The structure's still not the greatest in Brent, but this one here has got some promising consistent looking fruit, which I like. The same with this one over here, not quite as good, but I decided to keep that. So this one is one I'm going to save seed from for the next generation of Donovan. I even took a sucker and stuck it in the soil. So, of this particular plant right here. So I just grabbed a sucker after it got big and stuck it in the soil. So that'll be a replacement, which is something that can be done instead of lowering and leaning and doing all that kind of stuff. You can snap a sucker off and start it in a timely manner, so that when this fruit, or this fruit up here, is done growing and you harvest it, this fruit down here is starting to sit, and then you can remove that whole plant and just repeat the process. So that's a way of, what's the word I'm looking for, continuing the line of production without the height, because I have restricted height here with these trellises. These two beds here and this bed right here are Brandy Bear, and this is the next generation Brandy Bear going towards open pollinated. I'm quite certain I had to go back a year. I'm trying to think here because I had a bad disease year and I wanted to start over. Anyway, I'm quite certain they're very consistent, but they're not quite open pollinated again. So I call them sister lines for a reason, because there was still some distinguishing features. And in fact, I removed all of this bed here, I think 3, and I kept 2 that looked pretty good. And over here I removed like 4 of them, and I kept 1. Now these 2 here and this one here are, for 3 total, are a sister line to this one over here. Now that sister line is very consistent. It makes awesome looking beefsteaks of good size. I like the consistency in the fruit. I like the plant structure and all that. And these 2 I haven't ruled out yet, but I may end up culling these. The sister line may go, which is kind of weird. You know, it's something you don't know, a lot of things that go on, but I had thought that these would be the better ones instead of this one. I just happened to plant this one thinking, I think that this one was this, and then vice versa, based on my records. But now I wish I would have planted 2 of this line here. But it doesn't matter, I still have, what's that, 4 plants. And I'm going to do replenishment. When I get to the top here, I will take a sucker off, and I'll plant a sucker down strategically, so that when the fruit up here up top is ready to be finished, these down here, the sucker would have grown enough to replace it. So this bed will be continuous until the end of the year. And I can also evaluate how they perform in the high heat. So yeah, there's something else I'll go ahead and show you, since we're kind of talking about methods to slow down the production or the height. What you can do, let me see if I've got one on here that I've done something with. I might have one on the other line here. Let me take a look here at Donovan, see if it's got one that's a little better. I want to find one. Okay, There's one over there. Let's go over there and take a look at that. I've already done this with my cherry tomatoes, and I'm not sure. Yeah, I did it here too. This is a cherry tomato, but I think, yeah, I did it with a paste. I can see them over there. But there's a way you can slow it down, and the way you do it is you can take and leave a sucker here, and this is the primary stem here. Now these are almost equal, but in most cases the sucker would be smaller and further behind. But you can take and cut these off here, the very tip, like I just did, and I always do it above a cluster, and the lower sucker here would become the growing tip. And what that does is the apical stem, which is this one, the one I just removed, will send the hormones back down, and it'll start growing this one here. And how it slows it down is this one's usually a lot smaller, and so it'll start growing. But what that does is that delays the height of the growing. I'm going to show you some examples on the rose cherry bear here. You can see here I took out the apical bud. Now I usually snip them with cutters, and this sucker here began growing taller, and so I cut the primary apical stem right here above this fruiting truss. So this one, if I didn't do that, this truss here would be up and growing over the trellis here. So I did it by slowing down. It probably better, I need to take this one out, that truss there, I mean that sucker. It's probably better if you did a little bit lower, but these are cherry tomatoes, and I've got about what I need on the cherry tomatoes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these suckers from the best one that doesn't, I think I know I did a video of it, but I'm not sure if you've seen it yet. But I've made a selection on which one of these rose cherry bears that I'm carrying forward. So I'm going to take the suckers of it. I'll go ahead and show you. This is the one here. So I'm going to take suckers off of this particular plant here, and I'm going to start stick them in the soil, like here and over here and all that. So eventually these two beds will be made up of this one cherry tomato right here of rose cherry bear. So that's a way to continue to get the more ideal fruit so that we can eat them, because this bed's going to remain rose cherry bear. I'm not going to take these out and replace them with another tomato line. I like the cherry tomato too much to do that. So I'm going to dedicate these two beds, there you go, to rose cherry bear and that particular plant.